The first weapon we're going to be looking at for this video is the AN-94. The AN-94 is probably one of the best weapons in the game right now currently, especially if you use it on burst fire, simply because of the amount of DPS that this weapon has. For one reason or another, whenever you use this weapon on burst fire mode versus the actual full auto and just tap firing or burst firing it on full auto, it does not perform as well. But when you reuse this gun on full auto and use it as a burst fire weapon, it's definitely something that takes out enemies really fast. And yeah, at medium to long ranges, like this is probably the best assault rifle for those types of gunfights. Maybe not as much at close range, but especially at medium and long range, you are going to be outgunning everybody with this weapon if you burst fire it on full auto mode. And these are the attachments that I personally like to use on the AN-94. Obviously, if you guys watch my videos, I like to use thermal all the time because I can't see nobody, and that's why it's always in my first slot, obviously. But if you guys wanted something, better, for most people who don't like using thermals, the Cobra sight is also a good option on this AN-94. It feels right as well. The Cobra and the Kate Hollow, actually. But then again, I think the thing about the Kate Hollow is that the iron sight might get in the way a lot. I can't remember, but I can't remember because I just think the Cobra grip is just all right on this weapon. I think it's the best 1.25 zoom sight on this weapon, to be honest. But yeah. And then, yeah, in the first slot we have the tactical compensator to increase my accuracy. This is also very important for longer range gunfights. You don't really need the tactical compensator on this weapon, to be honest, but honestly, if you were to get surprised in close quarters, then obviously this is going to increase your hipfire accuracy a little bit better against enemies like that. In combination with the laser sight, which is right there. Laser sight is obviously going to be very important for hipfire kills or whatever. And then we have the heavy barrel in case you need to kill people at very long ranges. Obviously, you're going to have a harder time controlling the recoil, but the thing about it is if you put it on single fire mode, you can also tap fire this weapon pretty well. Tap fire, put it like this: single fire mode and full auto is what you want to use on this weapon. Do not use burst fire mode. Use single fire to in combination with the heavy barrel to get people at longer ranges, or at medium range gunfights. Well, actually, on medium range gunfights, I wouldn't bother using the heavy barrel. In medium range, just stick with the tactical compensator and just burst fire the AN-94 on full auto firing mode. But yeah, like I said, at super long ranges, you can switch to the heavy barrel and try to tap fire people using that. And then in the third slot, we have the flash suppressor. It basically works the same. It works exactly the same as a regular suppressor in this game, honestly. I don't see the point of using either one of the actual suppressors, simply because it either lowers your projectile velocity or lowers your firepower. The thing with the flash suppressor is that it does not have any negative whatever. I'm trying to think of the word, but I can't really think of the word. There's nothing negative about it. It doesn't negatively affect you in any way, shape, or form. But obviously, since this is an assault rifle, you definitely could get away with using the rep suppressor on it instead, and the rep suppressor is still probably perform pretty well on the AN-94 because assault rifles in this game tend to have the highest projectile velocity. That and LMGs. Actually, I'm not sure if that's true or not. All I know is that assault rifle projectile velocities is really good. So yeah, a rep suppressor is also another option as opposed to the flash suppressor. Even though, like I said, the flash suppressor, they both do the exact same thing, except the only difference is that the flash suppressor is not as quiet as the rep suppressor is. At least in game when you're firing it. But yeah, anyways, obviously you're gonna want to use the laser sight in the first slot to help with hip fire accuracy. And honestly, you don't necessarily need the Cobra grip, in my opinion, but like I said, if you want to try to kill people at super duper long ranges, use the Cobra grip. Actually, use the Cobra grip in combination with the heavy barrel, and try to tap fire enemies that are very far away. But again, like I said, I don't necessarily think that the Cobra grip is even necessary, to be honest. But for the best possible accuracy, obviously, Cobra grip with heavy barrel on super long range enemies. And if I were to get rid of the Cobra grip, I would just probably switch it with, well, obviously, the regular grenade launcher and the smoke grenade launchers in particular. Use the regular grenade launcher to kill campers or do damage against vehicles, and use the smoke grenade launcher to provide cover for your team. And then there's only one magazine type, so yeah, you guys don't have to worry about that. I forgot to clarify this earlier, but think about using the AN-94 with burst fires. That despite it having only a fire rate of 600 whenever you're using this weapon full auto, if you decide to burst fire this weapon while it's on full auto, your fire rate jumps to over 1,000 or something like that. I think it's like 1,100, maybe it's like 1,200. I can't remember. Anyways, all I know is that the fire rate when you're burst firing the A94 is over 1,000, and that's honestly pretty insane for an assault rifle, especially for an assault rifle that is great for beaming people at longer ranges. But yeah, I forgot to mention that, so I wanted to clarify that before I move on. 1,100 fire rate if you burst fire it. The second best weapon in the game right now, or well, actually, no, I take that back. I'm not putting these in any particular order. Honestly, I'm just going up from whatever. This is not in any particular order. Anyways, the second other best weapon in the game right now currently is the KFS 2000. Obviously, this weapon just came out and is completely broken. I'm not sure if DICE is going to have time to nerf this, or they're actually going to try to nerf this or not between here and Battlefield 6. But in case they do, I would highly recommend you guys get this tier 1 as soon as possible, or use it while you still can, because this weapon is definitely a really good weapon. It's got the highest fire rate of any assault rifle in the game with 960 if you use this shortened barrel on this weapon. But yeah, like I said, this is like an SMG with assault rifle range, so that's what makes it so deadly. And obviously, as you can tell, I mean, I just made a video on this not too long ago, and nothing's really changed. But yeah, thermal in the first slide because I need to help seeing people for the most part. I got the Kate Hollow in the second slide in case people start throwing smoke grenades or on maps where the thermals do not work. And then in the third slide, the T4 thermal 2.5x sight to help with medium range gunfights. Although I have to admit, I haven't really been using the 2.5x thermal with this assault rifle too much, simply because it shakes around a lot. It does shake around quite a bit whenever you're firing on T4 thermal 2.5x for medium range or whatever. So I mean, maybe instead of using the T4 thermal 2.5 in that slot, I probably would use the Ghost Hybrid 1.5 to -4x in the third slot instead. Like I said, just for medium range gunfights, to be honest, because yeah, I don't know how how much it shakes around with the hybrid sight, to be honest, but I would assume it's a lot easier to control than the T4 thermal 2.5x sight, simply because, well, I can't really explain it. But yeah, it might be better for medium range gunfights, is what I'm trying to say, than the T4 thermal instead. And then obviously this is the most important texture with the weapon. Use shortened barrel because that increases your fire rate by 110. That's very important for this weapon to be really good. And then in the second slot, I have tactical compensator in case I need to shoot people there at longer ranges for more accurate shots. Obviously, you might have a harder time controlling the recoil. In that case, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just stick with using the KFS custom compensator instead of the tactical compensator if you can't control the recoil. But yeah, either way, I'm going to use the second slot for longer range gunfights for more accuracy. And then in the third slot, we just have the PB heavy suppressor. I don't really see a difference in firepower between the PB heavy suppressor and the rapid suppressor. Well, there's a difference obviously, but it's still going to be like the same amount of the same amount of shots, which is like a 5 to 6 shot kill at close to medium ranges. So yeah, it doesn't make a difference, and might as well use the heavier of the suppressors to keep you off the minimap in even closer quarters, because you're off the minimap from enemies that are over 15 meters as opposed to just 30 meters. And then in the first underbarrel slot, obviously the only thing we have is the BCG light grip. But I know for all you PC tryhards out there, you might want to use the LWG grip instead of the BCG light grip, simply because I know you guys like to move around and jump around and do all kinds of weird stuff and whatnot. But yeah, anyways, for the most part, the BCG light grip is going to be your most balanced under attachment for this weapon. And then in the second slot, we have the standard issue extended magazine for obviously the best for the highest ammo count possible whenever you're running around. Then in the second slot, I have the high power extended mag in case I need to shoot people at longer ranges or as backup ammo. This is also really good backup ammo because even with high power extended mag, you get a 910 fire rate with this weapon. And then in the third slot, we just have the standard issue magazine in case I run out of ammo in those other two ammo types. And then the next weapon we are going to be looking at is the VHX D3, which for this video, Honestly, the best weapons in this game are definitely assault rifles. You just can't beat them, to be honest, because for the most part, assault rifles have the same fire rate as SMGs with a better headshot multiplier and better accuracy than LMGs. So yeah, anyways, the VHX D3 is definitely another really good weapon. It's also very beamy, especially with this setup that I use. It's really good for all gunfight ranges, to be honest. This might be the best weapon in the game still. I really don't know. But yeah, anyways, in the first slide, the Fusion Harlow, you know, obviously, like I said, I like to use thermals a lot, but yeah, I mean, basically I use thermals to help see people, but then I switch to Fusion Harlow if they throw smokes or if I'm on maps where the Fusion Harlow doesn't work. But yeah, in the case of you guys who don't like to use thermals, the Fusion Harlow site is definitely your go-to site for for most gunfights anyways. And then, you know, if you wanted to if you wanted something for medium range gunfights, actually this, oh wait, never mind, yeah, the Ghost Hybrid 1.54x, you could also use this for to help use this site to help with medium range gunfights if you have trouble with it. But normally I just use the thermal on this weapon in particular for medium range gunfights because it's just that good. And then in the first slot we have the Tactical Compensator. This is obviously going to increase your accuracy as much as possible, and it's going to make it very beamy or whatever. Especially, it's going to make it very beamy, whether you're ADS or whether you're hip firing, which obviously you're going to need the best accuracy possible, especially in combination with boosted light grip, because that lowers your hip fire accuracy. And then, I mean, I got the long barrel on there now, but I gotta be honest, I'm not even sure if the long barrel is necessary on the VHX. Like I said, it's literally just that good. You don't even necessarily need the extended barrel for longer range gunfights, but I guess if people are like, you know, 200 meters or more and you want to try your luck at killing them, yeah, switch this extended barrel and try to tap fire them at very long ranges. But for the most part, for me, like for close to medium range gunfights, Tactical Compensator is just fine on this weapon because this weapon is just that beamy. And then in the third slot we have the PB Heavy Suppressor because, again, there's really not much of a difference between the damage numbers versus the PB versus the 6K Suppressor and the Rep Suppressor. And honestly, this is probably, like I said, this is probably your best. I should have said this before, but yeah, the PB Heavy Suppressor is definitely your best option if you're using subsonic rounds for whatever reason or another. And then, yeah, in the first slot, obviously we just have the BCG light grip to help with ADS. Actually, this weapon's already really good with accuracy in the first place. But with the BCG light grip, you may, like I said, this is what makes it a complete beam machine or whatever. But yeah. And then in the second underbarrel slot, we just have the incendiary grenade launcher to, you know, try to burn some mothers, if you get what I'm saying. Can't curse because of reasons. But yeah, anyways, try to use the 40mm incendiary grenade launcher to either keep enemies from pushing your team or to kill someone that's sitting in a corner. That sort of thing. People underestimate just how good incendiary grenade launchers are. And then in the third slot, we just have the smoke grenade launcher so that you can provide cover for your team. Or if you really want to go this route, you can use the 40mm high explosive grenade launcher to try to get cameras or to do damage to vehicles, depending on the game mode that you're playing. But yeah, I like to use smoke grenade launcher in the third slot to provide cover for my team or to revive people. And then in the first magazine slot, we just have the standing issue extended mag. Obviously, that's your best bet because it gives you the most amount of ammo possible with the best possible fire rate, which is 850 on this weapon, which is insane too. If you're not using the F2000, this is definitely your next best option, in my opinion. Yeah, and then in the second slot, we just have another standing issue magazine in case I run out of ammo with the standing issue extended mag. And then, yeah, I have subsonic rounds in the third slot in case I need to, in case I want to be stealthy. Like I said, I wouldn't use this unless I have the PB Heavy Suppressor on at the same time. And then this weapon does have high power rounds, but it's only got 20 bullets. To me, that's not really worth it. And like I said, this weapon's pretty beamy. It's got pretty good range even with just an issue magazine. But yeah, like I said, subsonic rounds in the third slot in combination PB Heavy Suppressor in case I want to flank. And then if you're playing like the regular Conquest or Conquest Large or whatever, just, you know, have your high power rounds there in case you want to try to shoot people that are very far away. Dash MGL. This is definitely your best high-powered ammo weapon in the game. This weapon is before these other DLC weapons came out, this definitely was the best weapon in the game for medium and longer range gunfights, and it's also got a pretty good ammo capacity. Has really good damage range, especially when you're using the high power drum round, which for the most part that's what you're going to be wanting to use. But yeah, anyways, first slot thermal because I can't really see nobody in this game, and then if not, then We got the fusion hollow sight just in case people throw smoke grenades, or if I can't use thermal or whatever. But obviously, if you don't like thermals, you can use fusion hollow instead. That's another good option. And then we have the T4 Thermal 2.5x sight in the third sight to help with medium range gunfights. But obviously, again, if you don't like to use thermals, the Ghost Hybrid 1.5-4x is also really good for medium range gunfights if you want to shoot people that are a bit out there. And then in the first slot, we have the technical compensator to increase my accuracy as much as possible. And yeah, I mean that's all there is to it, because there's no accuracy increasing attachments for the underbarrel for this weapon because of the grenade launchers. So yeah, that's why I like to have the technical compensator. Although I've seen people get away with just using factory barrel as well, because this weapon has pretty good accuracy and range, honestly. But yeah. And then in the second slot, we have the rep suppressor, which again, I could do this too, just have the long extended barrel in the second slot in case I want to try to beam people super duper duper cooper looper whatever far away. But I don't even think it's necessary with the SFAR anyways. But yeah, if you guys wanted to go that route, you can have the extended barrel for trying to shoot people at super long ranges. But yeah, anyways, and then I have the rep suppressor on it because in combination with high power rounds, you're not really going to feel much of a difference in their damage range or your projectile velocity, to be honest. That's why I would definitely use it over the 6KU suppressor. And then the first underbarrel, we have the incendiary grenade launcher because I like to burn people, especially if they're camping or to prevent an enemy team from pushing up through an objective, if they're not throwing smoke grenades at least. And then in the second slot, we have the regular grenade launcher in case I need to do damage to vehicles or I need to shoot someone that's just hiding in a corner or something like that. But obviously, if you're playing like regular Conquest or whatever against actual vehicles, then the armor piercing grenade launcher is definitely better than the high explosive one is. High explosive is definitely better against the infantry though. And then in the third slot, we have the smoke grenade launcher in case I need to provide cover for my team or to revive somebody. But if you're playing regular Conquest, I definitely would rather use the HE explosive launcher in the third slot with the AP round grenade launcher in the second underbarrel slot. And then for the first magazine type, obviously high power drum magazine. This is the go-to ammo attachment for this weapon. This is what makes the SFAR-M GL so good, to be honest. Is this drum round, this drum mag high power rounds, which for the longest time was the only weapon in the game that had the sword attachment. But I think the only other weapon in the game that has high power drum round is the RPK-74M. But yeah. This is definitely your go-to ammo type for this weapon because of how good the damage range is, and it's also really good at close quarters despite it only being a 600 fire rate. It's like I said, this weapon is solid, especially with that. But obviously, if you run out of ammo, if you want to have better close range gunfight chances, then you could always switch to the standard issue magazine. You only get 30 bullets, but you do get a fire rate increase of 50, and then you can see the stats. It has a better recoil, control, reload speed, and rate of fire, while losing damage range. But yeah, if you run out of ammo, then standard issue magazine's a good second choice, or for close range gunfights. And then the third slot, we just have some regular high power rounds in case I run out of ammo. To be honest, I mean, if I had another different ammo type, then I would use it. But the only other one is the armor piercing rounds. Again, if you guys are playing Conquest against like vehicles with like helicopters or whatnot, you could probably try to use the armor-piercing rounds to be able to shoot to shoot helicopters or to shoot at light armor vehicles if you need to try to shoot the driver or whatever. But for the most part, you're probably just going to want to stick with regular high-power rounds in the third slot in case you somehow run out of ammo, which it's very unlikely for the most part. But again, it's always there just in case. And then we have the PP-29. This is the try-hard PC sweaty weapon of choice. You know how many times I've died to someone using this weapon with a keyboard and mouse? Like, oh my goodness, they don't use any other weapon besides this PP-29. Don't use any other weapon besides this PP-29 whatsoever. Sorry, I was just looking at something. I like the skin. I like the way it looks with the 6KU suppressor, to be honest. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, for the PP-29, we like to use the Fusion Hollow sight. Because this is an SMG, you're not going to really want to use it for longer range gunfights for the most part. So yeah, just stick with having the Fusion Hollow in the first slot. And then obviously for me, like I've said before, I can't see people in this game. I run thermal to help see people. This is also good for trying to shoot people at longer ranges. That's why the thermal 1.25x sight is also there in my slot. And for whatever reason, if you need something for well, if you want to try to shoot someone that's super duper long range with an SMG, then Ghost Hybrid 1.5 to 4x is also a good sight to run in like your third slot or whatever. But I don't use that. Anyways, the first barrel attachment we have is the rev suppressor. I normally would like to use tactical compensator on everything that I can, but this weapon I don't know how to describe it to you. It's definitely the most. This is definitely the most insane weapon in the game without any attachments, without any good attachments on it. They never made this weapon not good, to be honest. That's why so many PC sweats like to use this weapon. It's just insane. But yeah, I was using tactical compensator for the longest time, but no, just use the rap suppressor. Helps keeps you off the minimap at 30+ meters, and you're not going to feel a difference in accuracy, to be honest. Like that, I've used the tactical compensator in combination with the rap suppressor, and I've switched between the two. There's really no difference in ADS accuracy. The only difference is in hipfire accuracy, which for an SMGs, I mean, the SMGs have pretty good hipfire accuracy regardless of laser sights or tactical compensators. So yeah, just stick with using rap suppressor. It's not going to affect the weapon whatsoever. And then the second slot, we just have the long barrel round or extended barrel in case I need to shoot people at super duper cooper long ranges for whatever reason or another, which is not going to happen very often. If I'm using an SMG, it's definitely going to be on a close quarters map or a map that is not very long range or whatever. But if you, for whatever reason, found someone that was super far away, then yeah, try to switch the extended barrel and try to tap fire them somehow, And then there's no underbarrel attachment because reasons. And for the first magazine type, we just have the regular standard issue magazine. Obviously, in combination with the rap suppressor, you're going to feel a bit of a drop-off in the projectile velocity and damage range, but it's still like an all-around decent combination to run. But obviously, with me, I've noticed running high-power rounds with the rap suppressor, it's not going to change anything. Like running the high power with the rap suppressor is definitely better than running the standard issue with the rap suppressor. The only problem is that the high power round shoots slower than the standard issue magazine. So yeah, for close quarters, standard issue is definitely better, but high power rounds, run that if you need to kill people at medium ranges, or if you're trying to get people at super duper cooper long ranges. Then extended barrel. I don't know why I keep saying it like that. Whatever. Super duper cooper. Anyways, yeah, high power rounds are also a good backup ammo if you run out of standard issue magazine. Oops. Did that again. And then in the third slot, we just had a subsonic round. Subsonic round's pretty bad, but if you wanted to try to flank and get behind people and stay off the minimap from 15 meters or more, because yeah, if you run subsonic rounds with the rap suppressor in this game, apparently all it does is it works the same way as a heavy suppressor does. So yeah, you're only off the minimap at 15 meters or more instead of off the minimap altogether, which is just stupid to me. But yeah. Subsonic rounds is a good, well, I say it's good, but whatever. It's backup ammo in case you run out of ammo with the other two types, or if you want to get a flank on and try to shoot people in the back without them shooting back, then yeah, run subsonic rounds in combination with the rep suppressor. But anyways, that's all I was going to do for this part of the video. If you guys would not mind, please make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to reach 5,000 subscribers eventually. Let's see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen, especially between now and Battlefield 6. But yeah, anyways, or between now and forever, actually. But yeah, anyways, like I said, that's all I was going to do for this video. If you guys would like to see more content from me, please make sure to stay tuned for the end credits or whatever.